If you're looking for a pretty budget 1080p IPS monitor for gaming or general use, this might be the one you're looking at. It's £115 on Amazon at the time of filming, and Hannspree sent it over for me to take a look at, so let's jump into it. So the premise behind this monitor is that it is a 1080p 60Hz IPS monitor with a pretty nice price tag to go with it. It does actually have HDMI as well, so if you do want to use it for console gaming applications, you know, using your standard Xbox or PS4, then this might actually be a pretty interesting monitor for you. Taking a quick look around it, we can see there's a lot of glossy sides to be had, menu buttons on the bottom right with a menu system that is kind of old school, kind of a little bit clunky and a little bit limited in the options you have, but it exists. You can change the sources pretty easily, so nothing too much to complain about necessarily. And of course on the back you do have obviously the power in on, I guess, the right hand side, with the inputs on the left hand side. So you have HDMI, DVI and VGA, as well as an audio port. This does actually have speakers built in as well, although they're not that great, so unless you really desperately need them and can't have a proper speaker setup or headset or anything else, then they're there if you need to fall back on them, so that's also quite nice. There are, however, some drawbacks to your rather budget price tag. First of all, if you haven't noticed, that even slight wobbling of the desk or whatever you're doing will make this monitor wobble. It does actually have a tilt functionality, so you can actually tilt it back quite far, which is very nice, but it does mean that while you are gaming with it, and this is actually something that I noticed while testing the monitor, it will likely wobble around on you, which can get a little bit annoying. You can of course attach a VESA mount. It actually does have a VESA mount on the back, so if you want to attach it to a monitor stand or something, then that should you know, eliminate that issue, which is rather nice. When making use of the monitor, I was pretty impressed on the head-on visuals for it. Obviously it claiming to be IPS means that in theory the color accuracy is pretty good and viewing angles should be pretty good. That is, unfortunately, in theory. Color accuracy does look pretty good to the eye. Unfortunately, I don't have a color tester, so I can't go all out on that, but you do have a little bit of an issue with the viewing angles. Taking it straight on is fantastic, you know, brilliant looking monitor, but there's a sort of weird, almost a bug with the panel here, where basically the center half, wherever you are in relation to the monitor, the furthest side from you gets pretty dark pretty quickly. Hopefully there'll be footage on the screen now so you can see what I'm talking about, but if you're looking at it from the left hand side, for example, basically the full right half of the monitor gets incredibly dim while the left half stays perfectly fine. And again, if you're looking from the right, the left hand side would be dim while the right hand side would be pretty bright. So it's a little bit of a strange one. We'll be speaking to Hannspree about this just to make sure that this isn't some sort of bug with manufacturing or something, but nonetheless it's something I wanted to mention. Top and bottom viewing angles aren't too bad, although there does seem to be a bit of a dead zone where if you're looking at it from relatively on high or relatively on low, then you're going to be fine with it, but if you're looking at it anywhere between sort of dead center and not quite far down low or far up high, then you will have a bit of a sort of polarized image to be had there, so that's also something to bear in mind. For gaming purposes, I was pretty impressed with this. I was using a Ryzen 7 1800X and a GTX 1080 system, which was a bit overkill, but it was actually a pretty enjoyable experience. Playing Doom on it was you know, fine. I didn't really have any accuracy issues or anything else, so as I said, was pretty impressed there. Obviously being 60Hz is not the best for PC gaming, but if you're on the budget side of things, then this is a pretty good choice. And of course, if you're on the console side of things, then you still won't get any benefit from anything higher than 60Hz, no matter what you know, 4chan might tell you. My conclusion for this is pretty complicated. It's a very nice value for money, even just in terms of standard 1080p monitors, as you'll likely find monitors anywhere between about £85 for actually from Hannspree and you know, about £150 to £200 depending on what sort of spec you're going for. The sort of standard 1080p you know, cheap budget monitor is going to be around about £100 to £110 anyway, so an extra £5 for the IPS panel that's in this isn't too bad. Obviously the overall experience isn't bad, but you will probably want to get a monitor stand for it, which does raise the cost a little bit, and as I said, the viewing angles are a little bit strange, so something to bear in mind as well. The main rival to this is actually something that I reviewed 4 or 5 years ago, which is the BenQ GL2460 2460 HM. That's the one with the HDMI port from BenQ, and it's actually a pretty nice monitor. If I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go with this one 4 or 5 years ago, which is this point in time, although they are very comparable, they're very similar. Obviously the BenQ one is a TN panel, but in terms of actual image quality and in terms of overall usage experience, I'm actually still using that BenQ 2450 HM myself in my triple monitor setup, and that's held me well, and I expect that something like this would do as well. So if you're looking for a budget 1080p monitor that claims IPS, although doesn't necessarily have all of the benefits of it, then this one isn't too bad of a shout. A quick rundown of the scoring for me is probably going to be a 4.5 for value for money, with probably a 4 for performance, again a 4 for functionality, and I think a 3 for styling. The glossy bezels just make it really a 3 for styling. The overall styling does definitely make it feel quite budget. In terms of actual TechteamGB score though, I think it's going to be a 4 and a worth money award. It is definitely worth your money if you're after a budget monitor, but do obviously take into account the few issues that you may have in terms of screen wobble and in terms of viewing angle as well. So I hope this video was interesting and enjoyable and informative for you. If it was, feel free to let me know by leaving a comment and hitting that like button as well. And if this is the first video of mine you've seen, feel free to check out that subscribe button too. If you want to know any more about this monitor, I'll leave a link to Amazon and in the description down below, so feel free to check that out for the price when and where you watch this. And of course, if you want to support me and keep me making these videos on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and actually now quite regularly Saturday basis, then feel free to take a look at the Amazon and Overclockers UK affiliate links that are in the description down below, and the merch link as well, as that all helps me out massively when making these videos and all that sort of stuff. So if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. I'll leave some other videos over here for you to check out, and of course the subscribe button somewhere over this side. And yeah, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all in the next video.